Good morning, everybody. This is a distinct pleasure and a very, very special day for us here. First of all, it's a beautiful day in Sullivan County. You couldn't have picked a better day to come down here. I want to thank Governor Cuomo. I want to thank our honored guest, Mr. Niro, for taking time out and coming out here. We've got a lot of nice things to show you, a lot of nice things to tell you. We're going to make it short, going to make it easy, very informal. If you have any questions, ask. We'll do our best. Okay, so I want everyone to know here that our relationship with Governor Cuomo during the period of time he's been in our governor up in Albany has been just 100%. It couldn't be better. The fact that he's down here today celebrating the Catskills, we're very, very appreciative of that. But more importantly, I want everyone here in the room to know that he has his eye on the Catskills. He always had. And during our period of time, going back way before you got into office, when your dad was in office, when he tried to regulate the cable television business. I mentioned tried. Okay. We are native New Yorkers. We grew up here. We started our business up here. We still have our corporate headquarters here. There's no better place, let me tell everyone in this room, there's no other better place to live in the United States than Sullivan County, New York. We love it up here. Okay. Just a few moments about where you're at is here in Bethel Woods. We opened Bethel Woods in 2006. So this is our 10th anniversary. As many of you know, thank you. If you believe what you read in the papers, they are telling us we are the most successful performing arts center in New York State. Believe it. And most importantly, it wouldn't have happened without the relationship that we have with our legislators up in Albany. I want to particularly mention Senator John Bonasek, Assembly Lady Aileen Gunther, and before her, Assemblyman Jake Gunther. Wonderful people, wonderful neighbors, and anytime that we needed to speak with them, they were always available. And in general, you know, the people, all of us that live here in New York State, you don't realize how lucky we are that we have the form of government that we have. There are a lot of places right here in our country that you can't get near the legislators. You can't get near the head of the state, the governors, the lieutenant governors. Not here in New York State. They are accessible, they're interested, they work with us, and any success that we've had up here is because of the cooperation and the collaboration and the understanding that we had with our legislators and our governors. And I just want to personally thank you, thank your dad, and the other folks that we've had thank Governor Pataki, and going all the way back till I was a little boy. And so we're lucky, and we want to publicly thank you for everything you've done for us. Okay. So that is about it. You're going to have an interesting day. The group is going to show you a lot of things that you don't know about, places you've never been. And I personally want to thank, or personally want to invite every one of you to come back anytime you want. If you want to have a really interesting day, give us a call. We'll hand carry you through Bethel Woods. There's over 1,000 acres out here, and as you know, It was always known as the place where the Woodstock Festival happened, and they know about that all over the world. Well, now it's called Bethel Woods, and it is also known all over the world, and we're very, very proud of it. It's New York made, bred, built, and operated. And we're very, very pleased that we're part of it, and the contribution it's made to the community and to the state and to the lives of the literally thousands of people that have worked here over the 10 years we've been in business and the 6 years previous to that that we were building it and planning it and putting all the pieces together. So that is it. I think I've said everything I had to say here, and I'm honored that you're here. I really, Andrew, from the bottom of my heart, I really thank you for everything that you've done and the help that you've given us and the good relationships we've had with the Cuomo family going back many, many years, since I was very, very little. You were always older than I was, but we always had a great relationship. Okay, all right. Other than that, there are honored guests here. We mentioned our senator and assembly lady. We have Kevin Lewis, chairman, the Greene County Legislature. Kevin, you here? Welcome, Kevin. And our newly elected chairman, an ace of a guy, Luis Alvarez. Where are you, Luis? Are you here? Great. Thanks. I'm glad you didn't wear a tie, Luis, because you always wear these fancy ties, and it makes me feel inadequate. But you look great, and thank you very, very much. Okay, and I think there's so many others of you out here. I can't. John, thank you very, very much. Fully dressed, yeah. Dressed appropriately. And last but not least, our former supervisor, Scott, is here, and sitting next to Nancy Buck, who collects all our taxes on time. And I'll waste the day if I call all of you. I just want to say, as a group, the people from CVI, from Cablevision Industries, our company, who have been here all the way. Keith is out here, Margaret's out there, some of the other new people are out there. It wouldn't have happened without them, and I'll always be thankful, forever thankful for their loyalty and hard work to getting this thing done. So, without any further ado, I never even, before yesterday, I would never have thought that I'd ever been able to meet Robert De Niro, other than keep watching some of his old movies that I have. I have a lot of his old movies. I love the way he talks, this guy, and he gets the message across. And then I read about him in the paper. He tries to tell the government what to do over there on the other side of the river, but he wins, he did. And I can just imagine him sitting around the table. And he'll go like this. He'll go like this, okay. But Robert, it's my distinct pleasure of being able to introduce you here this morning. And if you'd just like to come up here and say a few words to the folks, and then you're going to come up and... Real pleasure.
Very nice of you. Thank you. Okay. So a man goes to a psychiatrist. The doctor says, "You're crazy." The man says, "I want a second opinion." The doctor says, "Okay, you're ugly too." Those were the Catskills I grew up admiring from afar. The hotel resorts like Grossinger's, Kutcher's, the Concord, and more than 500 others in Sullivan County. Places where great comedians loosened their borscht belts and did jokes. A man goes to a doctor and says, "Doctor, my leg hurts. What can I do?" The doctor says, "Limp." Those Catskills were home to Jewish comedians like Mendel Berlinger, Isaac Zeiser, Erwin Nyberg, who became known as Milton Berle, Sid Caesar, and Alan King, also to Lenny Bruce, Joan Rivers, Rodney Dangerfield, and so many more. I wanted to change my name from Robert De Niro to Rugeluk de Goldfarb De Niro Steinberg. and spend the summers in the Catskills telling jokes. There was a girl knocking on my hotel room door all night. It was driving me crazy. Finally, I let her out. It wasn't only the Jewish Catskills. There were also the Irish Catskills, the Italian Catskills, and the German Catskills, but no British Catskills. It was like the European Union. Can I get a rim shot, Doctor? There was also the hippie Catskills, when Woodstock was the center of the hip universe. For a boy growing up in New York City, the idea of the Catskills, a center of entertainment, recreation, nature, and the arts, was very exotic. Some people ask the secret of our long marriage. We take time to go to a restaurant. Some people ask the secret of our long marriage. We take the time to go to a restaurant 2 times a week. A little candlelight dinner, soft music and dancing. She goes Tuesdays, I go Fridays. When I finally discovered the Catskills, I felt I'd finally found home, or a home. I bought property and now spend as much time as I can up here. Do you know what it means to come home at night to a woman who will give you a little love, a little affection, a little tenderness? It means you're in the wrong house. That's what it means. So it's my pleasure today to come here to say to people who are thinking of vacationing in this wonderful part of our great state, don't do it. Stay away. Go to the Finger Lakes or the Adirondacks or even, God help you, Atlantic City. But just stay the hell away from my unspoiled paradise. I've got all the money I'll ever need, if I die by 4 o'clock this afternoon. I'm kidding, of course. I'm very proud of this area, and I want the world to discover it, as long as everyone goes home after their vacations. Rim shot. Actually, we're very hospitable here, and although today we're promoting the area as a summer vacation attraction, the Catskills are beautiful and inviting 365 days a year. That's approximately how much time I'd like to spend here. A girl phoned me the other day and said, "Come on over, there's nobody home." I went over. Nobody was home. I've got more. You want to hear them? My wife and I went back to the hotel where we spent our wedding night, only this time I stayed in the bathroom and cried. She was at the beauty shop for 2 hours. That was only for the estimate. She got a mud pack and looked great for 2 days. Then the mud fell off. My wife and I were very happy for 20 years. Then we met. Take my wife, please. Take my Catskills, please. Thank you. And now it's my honor to introduce the governor of the Catskills and all the rest of the state, the Honorable Andrew M. Cuomo.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't know those were old jokes. I still use them. And nobody laughs. What a special day this is. We have so many special honors today, but let's begin with the fact that Robert De Niro is up here today and is promoting the Catskills and 100% believes it. He has a beautiful place here. I've had the pleasure of visiting him there. He loves it. He comes up whenever he gets a chance. And we didn't have to ask twice. He believes in the Catskills. He believes in the community. He believes in the people. And you couldn't have a better spokesperson. On a personal level, Alan brought up my father a couple of times. One of the great pleasures I had with my father, who we lost last year, was we would sit around and watch Robert De Niro movies. And my father would say the same thing every movie. He's the best in terms of acting, but he's also a quality guy. He's also a quality human being. He has been there for New York State whenever we've asked him. He's been a spokesperson for the I Love New York campaign, what he did after 9/11 with the Tribeca Film Festival to revitalize downtown Manhattan, which is now an international phenomenon. He's been fantastic. And that's what my father meant by a quality guy. He's not just a fantastic performer. He remembers where he came from, and he's here to give back, and he's here to share, and whenever he can help, he does. And that's about his character. We know his talent, and we know his character also, and they're extraordinary. And as a token of our appreciation for doing this today, this is a ceremonial key to the Catskills. Exactly where the gate is, I'm not sure, and where the lock is, but please accept this as a token.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Let's give him another round of applause. Robert De Niro. Alan Geary is Mr. Sullivan County. By the way, I forgot about that regulating of the cable industry that my father tried. It may be a selective recall. I would never try to regulate the cable industry, I want you to know. I want you to know the Senate was talking about regulating the cable industry. And I said, no, you can't do that. Alan Geary wouldn't like that. I don't want to mention names, but Senator Bonasek and Senator Flanagan, I'm kidding. Alan Geary is a phenomenon in the business community, a pioneer in the cable industry, we know. But he is Mr. Sullivan County. What you have done for Bethel Woods, what you've done for the arts, what you've done for the entire neighborhood, the entire region is really beautiful. And your entire family. So thank you very much. We have Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul here. Let's give her a round of applause. And our colleagues from the legislature and the assembly, Aileen Gunther, and your Senator John Bonasek, and the leader of the entire Senate, John Flanagan, is here. So thank you very much. We just finished our legislative session in Albany. Alan was talking about our form of government and how much exposure we have to our form of government, how accessible it is. I think after the past few weeks, we would like to have less touching between the legislature and the governor and a little more distance. But we actually had a great legislative session. We got a lot of great things done. And it ended a couple of weeks ago. We passed the best paid family leave program in the United States, which is really going to help people lead a decent life. We have more funding for education than any time in history, and we cut taxes. I bet people on this every day. I make money on it. It's my outside income. We cut taxes in the state of New York to the lowest level for the middle class in over 70 years, believe it or not. So a lot of good work. A lot of the focus is economic development. Why? Because what makes the state run is the business community and generating jobs and generating opportunity and then generating revenue. And one of the great economic engines that we've developed is tourism. Tourism is probably the single smartest investment that we have made in the state of New York. When you look at the numbers, we invested about $130 million in tourism, meaning the I Love New York campaign, advertising, promotion, et cetera. Sounds like a lot of money because it is. The $130 million investment increased tourism revenue $8.5 billion to the highest level in the state's history, $62 billion in tourism we do. So it's a smart investment. It works, and we can do even more. It's been working here in the Catskills. The number of tourists are up about 11%. We had about 4 million tourists coming to the Catskills. They generated about $1.1 billion in economic activity just for the Catskills. But if there's a region of the state that has more potential for tourism activity, it is the Catskills. Mr. De Niro and I were talking on the way up. It is still basically a secret for generations of New Yorkers. Now, if you remember Kutcher's and the time of the great resorts, that's one thing, but that's now 2 generations ago. And a lot of people haven't been exposed to the Catskills. And it is so close to New York City. It's basically New York City's backyard. That exposure is the key. If they see the Catskills and they know what we have here, they will come. We just have to do the exposure. And that's what today is all about. Telling the people of this state, telling the people of this country the story of the Catskills. Look at the history we have here, the natural beauty. Thomas Cole, Hudson River School of Painting, just because the Catskills were there, period. Just standing there in their natural beauty, inspired an entire school of artists, and really did inspire spirit. Washington Irving, Woodstock in the 60s, and the activities that we have here. You have fly fishing in the Catskills that is as good as anywhere in the country. You have rock climbing in the Gunks that is as good as anywhere in the country. We're going to do some rafting on the Delaware River. There's a whole set of activities here. And then in the winter, we have Bel Air, we have Hunter, we have snowshoeing. So it's a story that needs to be told. And today is part of telling that story. And with a partnership and with a little more energy, I think we're going to see those numbers go even higher. And that's what today is all about. We're going to announce today that part of doing this is making sure we do it intelligently. We balance tourism and economic activity with preserving the asset, which is the natural beauty of the Catskills. Mr. De Niro's joke, I love the Catskills, you can visit but leave because I want it for myself. Preserving the asset is important. So the state is going to do 2 grants totaling $700,000 for smart growth for local communities. We are also going to be working with the Woodstock owners to make Woodstock itself, to have it placed on the Register of State and National Historic Places, which would increase tourism. And we're going to do a special I Love New York ad just about the Catskills. And we're going to increase spending for the Catskills ad an additional $5 million because we want people really to get the message of what's in the Catskills. You have 50 million tourists coming into New York City every year. 50 million tourists coming into New York City. We want to say that's great. New York City, we're proud of it. We love it. Enjoy it. Visit it. But come see what else we have. Yes, we have the greatest urban area on the planet. We also have some of the most beautiful rural communities on the planet, some of the most beautiful mountains, some of the most beautiful wilderness. And by the way, it's just a couple of hours from that urban center. So come see the Catskills also. I'll end where I started. It's all about exposure. If people know what we have and they see what we have, they will come. And keeping the balance between preserving the asset and doing economic development. But the economy has to work. We have to get the revenue in. Otherwise, none of it works. I want to thank my colleagues in the legislature, who we have a great partnership with, both the Assembly and the Senate. We're looking at a federal government that just is gridlocked and doesn't work and sits there and points fingers all day. Rather than point fingers, we find a common path forward. And we find compromise. And I applaud them for that. Because I myself am not that compromising. But luckily, they are. And that's why the relationship works. But again, another round of applause for John Flanagan, John Bonasek, and Aileen Gunther. We're going to show you the Catskill ad, and then we are going to depart in different activities. We have hiking, fly fishing, rock climbing, golfing. I'm going to be doing a little rafting where I'm going to compete with the Senate and the Assembly to see who wins. Whoever wins the race, they get the bill of their choice passed next year. So there's very, very high stakes, because just once I would like to get a bill passed my way, just once. And I think I'm going to accomplish that today. Thank you, and God bless you. Alan Geary, thank you very much. Bob De Niro, thank you very much.